Hey folks, um, today we are going to look into another new appliance, a new security appliance I would say, and it's basically FTD, right? We're going to look into both the things. We're going to look into both FTD and FMC, right? So FTD basically stands for Firepower Threat Defense. Cisco basically acquired this company. So earlier it was just called as Firepower, and then they renamed it, and so we have a new appliance to explore. How is it different from ASA? I would say ASA just gives you the firewalling capabilities, whereas FTD basically combines the firewalling capabilities with the IPS, right? Intrusion prevention system, right? So yeah, how do we deploy this? So how do we deploy FTD can be deployed on a physical ASA box, right? You can also buy an appliance which is explicitly a hardware box, which is a FTD box, or you can do it like a VM, right? You can deploy it like a VM, which I'm actually doing it right now. So and the other way why it is different is because in ASA we used to have the security levels, right? Imagine if this was ASA, here the interfaces used to have security levels, but in case of FTD we are going to use something called as zones, right? So zones are basically you can say a collection of one or more interfaces, and we are going to have a inside zone, outside zone, and a DMZ zone, right? And if you want to go from one zone to other, you need to define your access policies, right? So that's the basic fundamentals involving here, right? So we're gonna basically play around with this, and let me show you my setup as well. So this is going to be my setup for the lab. I have a FTD, 3 routers, R1, R2 and R3. R1 is going to be my inside network, R2 is the outside network, and R3 is the DMZ. And on the left side, let me also tell you what is FMC. FMC is basically the management center for my FTD, right? FTD doesn't have a good CLI, or basically you can't do much with the CLI of FTD, right? It's pretty damp. So FMC is kind of like a portal or a graphical way of configuring your FTD, and that is the reason I have put my FMC in the same VLAN as my FTD, right? So so that they have direct connectivity, right? And again, FMC is again another VM, right? Now how do you access this VM? You need a computer, you need a laptop, or you need a computer which has a browser. So all these three interfaces are going to be in the same VLAN, so that they are all connected, right? The PC will be able to open up the FMC on the browser, and the FMC will be able to connect to the FTD, which in turn will be configured, right? So let's see a lot of things down here. We can yeah, we can have a look at some of the configurations, and we'll see how do we integrate this, right? So if you see on the screen, this is the topology which I have built, right? You can see the switch here. This is the physical topology, but this is my actual logical topology. I'm using VLANs to simulate it, right? So I'm using VLANs to put together the interfaces required. So I have basically put in the inside interface, the R1 to be in VLAN 10. These two interfaces are going to be in VLAN 20, and these two interfaces on VLAN 30, and the rest of the interfaces in VLAN 100, right? So let me actually do that. Let me actually probably pull up a text editor, and let me actually configure that, right? So let's pull that up. Give me a minute. Right, so let's have the configurations being done here. Looks good. So let me do the configurations on the switch first, right? So the switch is going to be this piece. Let me explain why did I do that. I think this is something which we have done, right, since a long time, so I think it shouldn't be in all my earlier videos as well. We have converted my physical topology into the logical topology, right? So let me explain maybe one of it. So the first part, I'm basically putting in my FMC, my FTD, and also an NTP router. So I've defined one particular router to just give me the NTP. So this router, so all the three interfaces 0, 0, 0/1 and 2/0 of the switch, right? 000/1 and 2/0 because it is the management IP of my FTD. So all of these three are going to be in the same VLAN, which is VLAN 100. Similarly, the R1 interface, which is Ethernet 1/1, and the inside interface, which is Ethernet 2/2, the inside of the FTD, right? They are going to be in one particular VLAN, that is VLAN 10. And then we have VLAN 20, 30, right? Pretty much the same. Now, let me just pick this up and put it on my switch, right? Let's get that over with. All right, looks good. So we have done this. Now what do we do next? So my FMC is already set up, right? My FMC, so I have connected it to my local laptop. On my local laptop I have set up my FMC, again a VM, and you know, my host computer and my FMC and my management IP of my FTD are all in the same VLAN, so they are all you know, they have connections, and also the NTP is also in the same VLAN, right? So the NTP server is a very simple server. I have just put one IP address on this, right? Just have an IP address 192.168.100.31. Let me clear the screen a bit. Now if I go and ping, let's check if I'm able to connect to my FMC. 192.168.100.52. Oh, no, sorry, 50 is my FMC, right? So when you install FMC, let me actually show you FMC. I think it should be somewhere here, right? So this is my FMC. So when you sorry, this is my GNS3. Okay, so this is my FMC, right? So when you install your FMC for the first time, you know, it will ask you to configure the IP address. So in this FMC I have not done anything else. I have just configured my IP address to be 192.168.100.50, right? So that is the only configuration which I have done on FMC. I did not want to do it on the video because it would take a lot of time to do the setup, right? You can check the documentation on how to set up the FMC as well. Let's just get the image from, you know, from a Cisco. You need to have a Cisco user ID for doing this. Get a image from the official website, right? Get the required licenses, and you're good to go. You can try it out on your VM, right? So this is how the CLI of your FMC looks like, right? This is how it is, and this is so all my devices are up, right? You can see here FTD is also up here. Great. So I think this is pretty much understood, right? So I have my R1, R2, R3, and FTD up here, and NTP is down here, right? The NTP, and this is my FMC, which is on my local laptop, right? But then I have already SSH'd, so I have a, you know, secure. I have a console on my secure CRT here. Great. So what are we going to do here? Let's play around this. Okay. So to start with, let's connect to this FMC on my local laptop, right? On my browser. So when I do this, you can set up a password as well when you install it for the first time, the FMC. So I'm just using my password and logging into the FMC console, the portal. Give it a minute, takes time sometimes. Right, so we have the portal up, and yeah, so that is my FMC, right? The portal is up. Now what do we do first? So we have the FTD also here, and let's see if I already have a IP address on my FTD. Admin, and the password for my FTD is going to be, I'm not sure if I have set the password. Okay, so the first time you use the FTD, you need to use the password of admin123 with a caps A. So admin123, right? And there you go. So the password works, and then it will ask me to agree to some you know, the agreement. You just need to press enter until it finishes. Okay, that's pretty much long. Yeah, that's good. So now it's asking for the login again. I'm gonna log in with the same password 123. That's good. The new password, it's asking me to set a new password, so I'm gonna set a new password. Yeah, so I've set a new password now. Let me clear the screen a bit. It's going top, right? So it's asking me, do you want to set a IP addresses? I'm going to do that. It's going to be a manual IP address. I'm going to put manual. Enter a IP address for the permanent for the management interface, right? So this is going to be 192.168.100.52. Let's go with 52, and the mask is going to be 255.0. And default gateway, let's put some default gateway as 192.168.100.1. Host name probably is FTD. Yes, FTD should be good, right? DNS servers probably none. I'm not going to connect to the internet, so I don't want that. So let's put a none. And if you're networking, oh yeah, so that's good. So it's going to now configure my management IP. So once I do that, I will be able to reach the management IP from all of these three places, right? From either from FMC or from NTP, or yeah, from, because it will be in the same VLAN, right? It's going to be routed mode. I'm going to go inside the routed mode, so that's good. So let's see here, as soon as this configuration completes, give it a minute. So once this configuration is done, we will start registering this FTD with my FMC, right? So this is the portal where you will be controlling your FTD, right? This is my FMC, and we will have to register this FTD down here. And how do you register that? You need to go here and you will have to register under the devices tab. So you go to the devices tab here, and that's where you register it, right? So let's give it a minute for it to do this. Depends on the resources you have given for the VM. I think mine is pretty less, and as a result of that, it's taking a little bit of time, but I think it's almost done. Let's see. It's all good. So what we'll do is we'll do show network on my FTD. The basic idea is that my FTD should have connectivity with my FMC, right? Because at the end of the day, my FTD will be registered on my FMC. So that will come here. Let me also go to my FMC and try to ping if this works. Sudo ping 192.168.100.52 is my FMC. Yeah. So that works, right? So I have connectivity from FMC to FTD, and you can see that on the FTD as well. I have my IP address shown clearly, which is pretty good. What do we do next? So once connectivity has been achieved, let's go and register my managers. So that's very important, right? We need to configure my FTD to point to the FMC, right? So we'll do configure manager add 192.168.100.50, and we are going to put a secret key as well, Cisco 123. Okay. Like I said, takes a bit of time, but once that is done, it should work. Yeah, that's done. Now let's do everything on my portal, right? So let me go and register a new device. So what do we do here? I'm going to put in an IP address 192.168.100.52, which is my FTD. Put in a device name. It's going to put it as FTD itself. Registration key Cisco 123, right? Just make sure that it is exactly the same. Policy. So let's create a right? Let's create a policy here. Let's create a policy with let's give the name as implicit deny all, right? Because you know that everything is denied implicitly in a firewall, right? So let's deny everything. Select base policy will be none. We're going to block the traffic. Going to put it as save, right? I'm going to give it a minute for it to create the policy. Just save this. Okay. So my bad. Still happening. Okay. The policy got saved. So you see the policy appearing here. Now let me try to register this device. I'm going to press on registered. So as soon as I did that, it will start discovering the device. FMC will start discovering the device, and you can see that happening. Just keep this here. Yeah, so that should happen now. Let's give it a minute. Takes a bit of time again. Yeah, so you can see on the right side the registration has started. You can see the device getting added. I think probably I'll skip the licensing part. Licensing part is something you can do it on your own. I will show you where you have to do it. But after you, I mean, FMC comes with the 90-day evaluation license, so you can use it. You can use all the features for free for 90 days, right? Let this finish and then I will show you. So if you have not enabled the license, you know, the first time when you're registering a device, it might give you an error. So for that reason, you'll have to do the registration or the licensing first. So where do you do the licensing is you go to system, right? So you have licenses here. You can go to smart licenses, and you know, since I've already registered, you know, my evaluation period is over here. But if you the first time when you install, you will get an option over here to start the evaluation period, right? And once you start, you will see this happening here, right? And you can always see the progress over here. Just need to click on this. You can see the progress, you know, the registration and all of that happening, right? So it's still happening here. You can see. Go back to devices. Let's see if so. As soon as this completes, you'll get a green check mark around here, right? Which means you know, the process would have completed. So let's give it another couple of minutes. So that was all about FMC and FTD integration, right? Now we are going to look into something like the network policies, access policies. We're going to look into routing protocols and so on. So that'll be really fun. Okay. You can dismiss this anytime as well. You can click on this to see the tasks which are happening over here. You can see the tasks. You can see the registration happening. Forget about these earlier events. These were some of my older FTDs which I was playing around. So you can just think about, you can just look into the registration and the things which are happening above, right? So one FMC can be used for controlling multiple FTDs, right? So that is a nice thing. Still happening, right? So after this, I'm going to show you the NTP part, right? That's pretty important. Then we will jump on to the access policies. Okay. So okay, still not done. But I think I can still show you the NTP part. So for the NTP, what I'm going to do is let me go down to system. Let me go down to configuration while this registration happens. It's a bit slow. Yeah. So you can see here, if I go to time synchronization, so So you go to system configuration, and then on the left side you can go down to time synchronization. So since this process is still happening, it seems to take a bit of time. Let's just wait for that to happen. Just checking the connectivity. Yeah, so the registration is completed. You can see a green tick mark here. Right, now what do? I can go down to like I said, configuration, and from there I'm going to go down to you can go down to the time synchronization part. I think my VMs are hogging my this thing. Okay, so when I go to time synchronization, you can see that I have enabled the NTP, and I have put in the IP address of my router, which is serving as my NTP server, right? So that's still here. Okay, so I think we will continue with this. Was just the first part where I have integrated my FMC with my FTD. We will do the configurations in the next video, and yeah, so do tune in, and we will look into some amazing stuff coming in. Thanks.